Who'd believe that in the middle of October we're stood in the grounds of Longbridge Manor, which is the setting behind me here, and there's a lot of warmth in the sun. We're making the most of the last of the summer stroke autumn sun. In fact, we were just talking today that it's predicted that the temperature might go to -20 in the next couple of weeks, and so we'll have had a swing from +25 to -20. That's just incredible. The building behind really is a significant building for Forever. It's our head office here in the UK, and on this site there was a building back to the 1200s. It's got a fantastic history actually, and the original building, owned by the local friars, was taken from them sometime in the 15th century by Henry VIII, so quite some history to what is now our magnificent head office here. We talked a little bit in the last little clip about positive thinking, and positive thinking on its own won't do it. It's becoming success conscious and actually focusing our thinking on the things that we really want to achieve in life. So let me ask you the question, what does success look like for you? The clearer that you can visualize what it is that you want, what a successful, balanced life would look like for you, what it would feel like to be actually being in that life, what it would sound like around you, the clearer that we can visualize that, then the more likely it is that we can focus our thoughts on the achievement of the things that we want. So deciding what we want absolutely is the starting point. And the more that we can focus on that, the greater clarity that we can get to build that burning desire. That'll help protect us from all the dream stealers, all the challenges, all the ups and downs that all of us face in building a successful life. And just a few weeks ago, or rather months ago, I was catching a train from London up to the north, and I was in the cafe there at the rail station, and my laptop was out on the desk. I've got some Forever material there, and the guy collecting the cups interrupts me and said, "Oh, excuse me," he said, "is that Forever Living material you've got there?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "Oh," he said, "right," he said, "Are you involved with it?" I said, "I am, yeah." He said, "Are you doing okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm doing really well, thank you." He said, I looked at that thing," he said, "about 4 years ago." He said, "But unless you're in early, you'll never make any money, will you?" Of course, that's a conception that many people have about our industry that's not true. But what struck me about that dialogue as I was sitting on the train later was that, you know, when people say that to me, I have an unshakable belief in our business, an unshakable belief in our industry, and a very clear idea of where I want to be in the future. But somebody less well prepared than myself, experiencing that collector or that cup collector at the railway station, may well have had their dreams stealed. You know, they may have come to one of our meetings, got excited about the business, and then met the guy who said to them, "Well, you'll never make any money at that." So having a very clear vision helps us waterproof ourselves against these dream stealers. And you know, there are many, many great examples of people who you will relate to perhaps, or that you'll know of, or that you are aware of, that have a burning desire to be successful. And if ever you ask an audience of people, you know, who is the most successful entrepreneur in Britain, you'll often hear the name Richard Branson mentioned. And Branson, of course, has built a huge empire. But when you read Branson's story, there are a lot of people along the way who said he couldn't do it, he'd never make it. He was dyslexic, he had all sorts of other challenges, but he had a very clear focus. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, it's said that he had 10,000 experiments to find the one that made the light bulb work. And his view was, he didn't have 9,999 failures, but he did establish 9,000 ways in which it wouldn't work until he found the way that it would work. But it was his desire to make it happen. Some months ago we had Simon Weston. Some of you may be familiar with Simon's story. He was badly burnt in the Falklands War. Many people who'd experienced that may just have laid down and said, you know, I can't continue with my life. Simon had a desire to change the lives of others by inspiring them to see that they can be in control of their lives. He's a great example. And a friend of mine recently said, well, he'd been in a bookstore when Katie Price had been there, who you may know as Jordan the model. And he said a queue of people wanting her to sign a book. Now, whatever you think of Katie Price or Jordan, what you can't take away from her is that she's had a burning desire to be successful and in the limelight for all those years. I'm going to attach a clip to this little video message from another inspiration for me, and that's a guy called Nick Vujicic, who has got no arms and no legs, and again could have just given into life, but decided he was going to use his disability as an ability to help change the lives of others and help them see that it is all about the way you think about yourself. So the message is, get a clear picture of what we want, and that clarity differentiates the difference between us having a wish, something that we think we might like to have in the future, from a very clear goal. And that ability to dream again that anything is possible is a fundamental in us setting those goals.